Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad podcast with Chris Finn, a production of P4S Golf. Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad. I'm your host, Chris Finn. I am here with Bobby Prengle, our Director of Research here at P4S Golf, and we are excited for part two of what the heck to do in the offseason or the winter, or just when you're not playing a lot of golf. We've talked about mobility a bunch, obviously, on this pod. We've talked about in our part one about the strength side of things, and honestly how we believe that's probably the most important, but I guess least appreciated or least talked about.
Long forgotten strength training.
Yeah, unfortunately, in the marketplace of golf fitness, that has the longest return of benefit to customers.
Not very sexy.
Yeah, so people tend to go for the quick return, quick results. And that's what we're going to talk about today in speed training.
Oh, yeah.
And while those results can be super fast, you see how I did that? Fast with speed?
Yep.
Like that? Yeah,
I got that.
That was creative.
I saw where it was going before it happened.
You're faster than me, I guess.
Yeah, I am actually.
You are actually. It's because you're younger, though. That's all.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, we digress. They don't need to listen to our arguing here. But the I think while speed training can deliver really, really fast results, and that's why it's very popular, is because the average golfer, new club, goes further, don't have to do anything other than pay for it. That's really easy.
Sold.
Right? Speed. I can buy these sticks, I can swing them really fast, and I can go faster, and I don't have to do anything other than that. Sign me up. Let's buy it, right?
So quick and convenient.
Exactly. So speed training, obviously hitting the ball further is very cool. Nobody gets mad when they hit the ball really far, when they're the last guy to hit off, on their second shot because their drive went further than everybody else. But I think this is the caveat. Speed training, while probably the easiest, I would say, for most golfers. I don't know, mobility is pretty easy, but
but mobility requires some discomfort and it requires consistency.
That's
right?
true. With speed training, you don't have discomfort until you screw yourself up and hurt yourself.
Right? Until you blow your back or your wrist or something out.
Or your elbow.
A lot of elbows.
A lot of elbows, yeah.
A lot of elbows.
And literally like 80% or 85% of people that do speed training get hurt because they don't pass the rotary centers. They don't. We talked about you got to have the ability to rotate in your hips, your shoulders, your spine, and your neck. And that's we have the home assessment we always give for free to anyone listening at P4S Golf. But literally 9 out of 10 people that take that fail it.
Right.
Particularly if you're over the age of 40. Now, our juniors, they tend to do a little better on that. But if you're an adult, you pretty much can assure yourself that your mobility probably is no good. And
probably not going to pass all four.
Probably not. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is then part one was about strength. And most of you listening right now are not strong enough to support the speed that you're swinging at.
100%.
And yet, as golfers, we want to go faster because if you're not first, you're last, right?
Yep.
In the words of the ever-wise Ricky Bobby. But talk to us about speed training. How, what is it? How does it even work? I swing the stick and all of a sudden magically my club head speed goes faster. What's happening there? Let's start with that because that just, I think, baffles a lot of people's minds.
Yeah. So I'm not going to get too sciencey here.
We can get a little sciencey.
We'll do our best. Okay. We talked in the strength training episode about little quadrants, little buckets, right? You can get more complex and you can make this, web graphic where all this stuff is interconnected. And I've done that a bunch of times. I've seen that
a few times from you, yes.
So what speed training is trying to do is it's trying to actually get the product out into the open. Right. So it's trying to take the speed that's inside of your body and actually get it out into the golf club. Right. Now, the benefits of it is for people who have some speed kind of hidden inside their body's engine. If we give you the right device that weighs a certain amount, a certain length, whatever, and we tell you to swing it as fast as possible, you're just going to get faster. Right. I love car analogies. For the person who has a really nice car engine, like a Formula One race car, right? But they just don't know how to drive the car very well. If we just teach you how to drive the car, then you can make the car go faster.
Right. Yeah.
Right. There's a whole big subset of people.
Why are you coming over this way?
Most people, 99% of people, your car engine sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. If you try to make the car go faster by just slamming on the pedal harder, you're going to redline the car. You're going to cause engine issues. Your tires are going to blow out.
A lot of people have bad brakes on their cars too.
Really bad brakes.
Some are missing them, actually.
Yes, all of the above, right? And so if I give you the same speed stick, stack system, rip stick, whatever device, right, and I just make you swing faster, instead of actually getting faster, you're doing damage to your engine, right? And that's where at P4S Golf, right, we're very particular about who we give speed training to. It's a very small subset of people. It's a very exclusive group who get to do that.
And the crazy thing to me is when you say that, people are like, oh, they don't do speed training.
Oh, we do speed training all the time.
But literally, by getting you more mobile, by getting you strong, like the average person is going to pick up 10 yards very easily without ever focusing on speed training.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And I think that's the point that's missed from people is like, you know, all these devices are like, add 20 yards in 20 minutes. Like, A, but B, I don't know if I can say that on this podcast. I'm not sure if we have the rating. But, Mike, you may need to beep that out. I don't know. But anyway, they're these like promises that are. I try to put this into words. Like when somebody does speed training, this is my favorite. I had a guy who came in. He was like adamant about these. I need to do this. Like this is how I'm getting faster. And I was like, okay, well, cool. So tell me how it works. He goes, well, I do this drill. I swing 100 times. This is before we did our research.
100 times.
Yeah, now they don't do that anymore. But,
right. Yeah.
They won't tell anyone that. But yeah, so they swing 100 times. He's like, look, no, my club head speed's faster. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's temporary though. You know that, right? He's like, no, it's faster. I'm like, cool. Wait 15 minutes, dude, and then you can swing again. So he goes up 15 minutes later, and he's like back to where he was.
Right.
And he's like, what happened? I'm like, nervous system, bro.
Yep.
And you don't have the strength or the mobility to support what you just trained
to
get it to stick, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I get it now. No, it's not the greatest thing to have to do with people and the chance they get hurt or
right. Don't do that.
Yeah,
don't do that unless you're getting carefully watched over during that program.
Exactly. But all right, so let's say you're doing speed training, like how many should you do? Like how do you even like approach? Like let's say everyone listening here has great rotary mobility. They have great strength. They just need to figure out how to get faster. They're to this level of, hey, I need to do speed training.
Right.
Like,
well, so let's take a step back because I want to go to that misconception that we don't do speed training.
Right.
There's a lot of people that work with us that we do speed training with, right? And let's talk data for a second, okay? All of these speed training products
wouldn't be an episode if we didn't.
Exactly. They have a claim, right? And I hate claims with no backing. That's what keeps me up at night, okay? So they might claim that you can gain 5 miles an hour if you do their 8-week program, right? What we've already seen is if we have people get good flexibility, get good strength and power, and then we give them the speed training, not only do they gain that 5 maybe from the speed training program, they're usually gaining a bit more than that 5, and they've already probably gained 5 before that.
Right.
So their total gain that we know is going to be more sustainable is now more in the 10 mile an hour range. Heck, I've got one guy, he's almost up to 20 miles an hour.
Right.
But it's taken him a long time to build that base, get that flexibility, and then get the benefits of the speed training.
Right. And then what we talked about in part 1 of this kind of off-season winter series, whatever we want to call it, was in the strength side, what we found in the research is the longer or the stronger somebody is, the longer they've been doing a strength program, if there ever isn't a tweak, which in golf there always is some sort of overuse tweak, right?
Yep.
The rate at which they can return to training and return is like, I don't know what the percentage is,
but it's like 12 times faster. That's just a general.
12x is pretty good.
Yeah.
That is the first time I've ever heard you throw out a number with like out you like.
Yeah, without
like with an estimation number. Yeah. That was pretty good.
Very solid.
Proud
12 times faster.
But so I think that's, when we're talking about the guy who does the mobility, who does the strength, and then layers on the speed.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's 12 times better.
It's pretty easy. So yes, okay, what do I do with speed training? You've got tons and tons of options out there, all right? Let's go with what is actually the most efficient way to speed training, and it's what the fastest guys and gals in the world do, okay? Now, it's pretty difficult to do.
So I know we train most of them, so that's how we know that.
Yes, we've been there for these training sessions, right? We with the pumping music, with the screaming and the hollering. This is kind of difficult to do, and it's literally you need to get a speed radar, You need to get a ball, your driver, and a net. And you just need to blast golf balls into that net until you slow down. Right? And it sounds stupid simple, but the difficulty is actually allowing yourself to like let go of where the golf ball is going to go and just smack it. That is the reason I say that speed training is most importantly done in the off season, because golfers struggle with caring about where the golf ball goes.
It is a mildly important facet of the game.
Some of us don't really care if the ball's in the woods.
Let's clarify for those of you listening and can't see Bobby pointing to himself. He is pointing to himself.
Me, right?
I actually like scoring.
I want to see the whole course. I want to see the beautiful houses that are next to the course.
You hit it 350 over the trees, over the first row of houses.
Yeah.
Not many people get to see that second row of houses.
Right. It's entertaining to go over there and ask, like, hey, is there a ball in your front yard?
Yeah, I hear they leave iced tea out there on the front steps.
Sometimes there's a lemonade stand. But it's very difficult to truly let go of where the ball is going and really relinquish to do speed training with your driver. Right. I haven't seen it been able to be accomplished during a golf season when someone cares about, hey, I have a tournament coming up, or I've got a golf trip coming up with my buddies, right? It's, hey, off season, you're not out on the course. Put that net pretty close so you don't even see where the ball's going, and just smash until your number doesn't go up anymore. Right. Now, that's, again, very difficult to do, and an even smaller subset of people that are appropriate for speed training can do that type of speed training. Right? Your next best option is going to be using a product that will help you get to different ranges of speed. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
All right. If you're not hitting a ball, if you're just swinging an object, generally people have an easier time buying into, I don't care where the ball is going.
So I'm going to let it go and go fast.
Yep. I'm going to build up slowly to let my body just let it rip. All I care about is the number on the speed radar, and then you can actually build speed from there. Right. So
now you weren't here for my Christmas list.
Okay.
Episode.
All right. Yeah.
I did put the stack on there as if you are going to do speed training, that would be the device that, we would recommend. Now,
after about 5 years of research and trying every single product that's out there and testing it thoroughly.
The reason I'm bringing this up for all of you listening is he's the guy who did all of the testing, literally tried every system.
Yes.
Like RIP.
Spoke with most of the people who helped develop those systems, that type of stuff.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Thorough due diligence to make sure that if you're going to spend time and effort and money on something, that it's going to work.
Correct.
Right. And that's where right now the stack is going to be the best product that's out there on the market, because it's going to give you, call it a more gradiated program. It's going to slowly kind of build you up. It's going to give you good feedback on how you've made progress. It's going to keep you engaged. Right. And it's a very solid device.
Right. And I think that's one thing I think that people don't understand about nervous system is that the nervous system can be primed up and go incredibly fast today.
Yep.
So like let's say your 100% is 120 miles an hour, right?
You're feeling fresh.
Feeling great. I got 3 kids. My one kid came in last night. He wakes me up. My other kid wets his bed. My other daughter, she's sleepwalking, right? You don't sleep a lot, right? So then you come in today, and now my 100% may be 117 miles an hour. Right. Because my nervous system is fatigued.
I'm tired.
And I think that's the important thing when you look at, in the weight room, you can talk about velocity-based training with the stack. You're basically, you're figuring out what is my 100% today.
Right.
And then from there, you can actually, so let's say you're training at 70%. So I don't know what 70% of 117 off the top of my head is.
That's too much math, man.
That's a lot of math. But let's say that's where you need to be, right? So 70% of 117, if that's your max today, is going to be different than when you're training at 70% of 120. And I think that's the importance of being able to adapt to your nervous system. Everybody's got whoops and aura rings,
all that jazz,
right? And like those are delayed metrics, right? An actual predictive metric of your nervous system recovery is like a vertical leap. Like you can come and do a vertical leap every day, and
if it's way low, then hey, I'm probably tired.
Yeah, we should maybe take it a little easier today. The stack allows you to kind of have that sort of feedback, I guess is the way I would describe it, right?
100%. Yeah. Right. And I would even say then, this is what I tell people, when you get that speed training device, if we're talking priorities, speed training actually doesn't leapfrog and become your number one priority, right? Your mobility training actually becomes your number one priority, right? I was having a great talk with one of our other PTs, John, yesterday, and he has a couple of his clients using the stack. And he was asking me, he was like, have you seen some people where they're passing these flexibility tests and then they start this really intensive 3 times a week, 4 times a week speed training? It was like, their flexibility numbers go down, right? And I was like, yep, they do. Right? Because you're doing this intense nervous system training, your body's gonna kind of go, I'm real tired, tighten up. And so it becomes more important to get those flexibility numbers back up above so that you don't get yourself hurt.
100%. And I think that's what we saw. I think that was one of the most eye-opening things to me, talking speed. It's hard to talk about speed and not mention Kyle, right? And his rehab process. Kyle Berkshire came here, he went from WDing first time ever in his career to 10, 12 weeks. Winning the world championship, setting the world ball speed record and the world's longest drive.
Longest golf ball ever hit on a course.
Right. Pretty solid 12 weeks, right? For not being able to move. But one of the outstanding things to me was the mobility levels. And how his hips, it was the most flexible dude I've ever seen.
I tell people the simple way to put it, he is degree for degree the most flexible adult male we've ever measured.
Right.
No one.
And we've measured 10,000.
Lots of people, tons. No one can beat him in all 4 rotary centers. One person might have crazy flexible hips, but then their shoulders suck.
Right. Well, and that was the wild thing was when he started, how poor his shoulders were.
It was worse than mine
because of the nervous system, right? And I think to your point of what you're talking about, when you start speed training, the nervous system will tend to try to lock stuff down, and he wasn't focusing on those areas. I mean, dude's shoulders looked like he had his shoulder replaced. That's how tight they were, right? But it wasn't tight in the sense of the tissue needed to be lengthened. It was, we had to teach his brain that it was okay for his shoulders to move again, and that's where there was that wasn't magical, but it was pretty wild in terms of how much he would improve every single day he was in here. And that is a guy who's doing speed training for a living, basically.
His livelihood depends on how far he can hit a golf ball.
Right, exactly. And so for those of you who are looking at speed training, take to heart what Bobby just said. That's why I'm bringing this up, because I want to ram this kind of sort of down your guys' throats of, if you're going to do speed training, first of all, please make sure you have good mobility, that you pass the home assessment, that you have good strength levels. That's where we have the safe swing speed kind of predictor, basically, where we can say, based on your numbers, this is where your safe speed to be at with your, pretty much very low likelihood of injury. Do that first. But I know a lot of you won't. You'll just start doing speed training.
Because speed training's fun. Right. It's sexy. Right. It gets fast results.
Just know, please, that as you're doing that speed training, you're already failing tests are getting worse.
They're getting worse.
So you have to do something to help keep that and hopefully get it better so that you can actually use the speed, right? And that's the most frustrating thing that I have, from my standpoint, is I'll get on the soapbox of you're putting in so much time doing all this speed work, and and then you hurt yourself because you didn't do the prep work, so you can never even use the damn speed.
Right.
It drives me nuts.
If you bust your elbow up, you can't really go play and use all that great speed that's locked inside of a broken car.
Right. And if you're listening to this, I'm assuming it's because you want to get better and you're willing to put in time, and you probably are putting in time, and that's. I don't have the same level of frustration when I talk to somebody who's lazy and doesn't do anything. And they're like, "Oh, I just wish I could swing faster." Okay, but you're not willing to do a thing? No.
Okay.
Okay, that's whatever. Go ahead.
Your choice.
That's your choice. It's the people listening. For you listening right now, you want to get better. You're probably putting in hours at the gym. You're investing time, money. Most importantly, you're investing the time. Not forget the money, which usually isn't
it's
a
not
nominal amount, but you're investing the time. It's I'm so passionate, Bobby, as we all are, of just getting you the right information, and so that you can make the most of the time and then see the fruits of your labor. Literally, go out there and smoke it past somebody, and
it's really fun when it happens.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Whoa, what'd you do?" You're like, "I don't know, maybe I kind of hit it off the toe." Right?
I love that one. Yeah, it's kind of heely.
Yeah, 330 down the middle.
Yeah, that still went 320.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I think that's, hopefully that's, you guys kind of have gotten that from, what we've talked about, the story with Kyle of like speed training can be an amazing tool.
Fantastic.
And kind of, it's like caveman way, like get a driver, just swing hard, hit ball. Right. But if you're going to go with a device, obviously there are smarter devices than others. There's programs that actually work, but also understand that should be prep work done prior to do it. If we're truly talking about playing this game for as long as we can, and longevity is our goal. And that was the cool thing about Kyle. Like he came in, already had 2 world championships. Yep. I want to win a 3rd. And he's like, and this is a guy like he like literally can barely stand up at this moment because he's so hurt. And he's like, but honestly, the most important thing is I want to be in this game for 10, 20 more years. I want to be the oldest person to win. Like even the top of the world of speed is thinking about longevity. And that's such a common thread that we've found of all levels. For kids trying to play in college, that's longevity. For the college trying to play pro, that's longevity.
Yep.
Right. And for the, the amateur 40, 50, 60, you're trying to make it to the next decade and shoot your age. And across the board, these are the principles of how to keep your body healthy and still play at the highest level possible.
Yeah.
So, well,
are you off the soapbox now?
Sorry, I'm going to step down. We're going to get off the soapbox. I'm exhausted.
That was really high.
That was the fastest 20 minutes or so, I think, that I've ever experienced on a pod. So, but thank you guys, everyone, for listening. Hopefully you pulled some nuggets of knowledge out of there. Anything else you want to add, Bobby?
If you don't know where to start, that's what the home assessment is for, right? If you want to get faster, if you want to be able to hit the ball further, that's where you have to start. Yeah. I don't let anybody go past. It's like Monopoly. Like, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. If you pick up a speed device without passing the home assessment, straight to jail.
You deserve whatever happens to you.
Straight to jail.
You have been warned.
Just please do the home assessment.
Right. And by the time this comes out, we actually should also have our safe swing speed predictor up there too, which is also free. It allows you to go in, put in, hey, how'd you do on the tests? And, based on where you're at demographically and everything, there's all these crazy formulas and stuff that have in there. It'll tell you, it'll give you an estimate of kind of where that safe swing speed for you is. So that also can inform you further. How big am I a risk if I grab one of these devices and start chasing speed?
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got tools for you too. So I'm off the soapbox. We've provided value.
Perfect.
Tool.
Fantastic.
I think we can call this one good.
Good episode.
Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Look forward to seeing you in the next one, and appreciate you taking the time to listen.